Hello and welcome to another episode of Connecting the Dollars. Today we are going to talk about your fall financial planning checklist. So we do this every year and we're going to talk about some things that are important to do every year, but we're also going to discuss, more importantly, the things that are kind of going on in 2025 and what's a little bit different this year. So Amanda, what do we got going on this year?
Oh, so much,
So
right?
much.
So much, but we'll keep it specific to financial planning changes and tax changes. Think, the overarching theme in that front is that I think you can't count on the federal government to be there for you in a way that maybe you thought you did. So whether or well, thought you did in the past. So maybe if you're counting on Medicare and Social Security, those were always political lightning rods, and those, are more on the table as far as changes than they were in the past. So those haven't actually changed, but it's kind of out there now. The housing market, is very local, so it really depends where you are, right? But across the board, the housing market is really getting squeezed by these higher interest rates that continue to persist, which is freezing people in place, right? Because they have these low mortgage rates they don't want to give up on. Um, and then younger people are shut out of the market because they can't afford to take on maybe a mortgage at these higher rates. So we're seeing the average age of new homeowners is going way up. Um, and then, the property tax rates are also going way up. So people are giving up on their property insurance at kind of the same time the federal government is pulling back on FEMA funding. So, and then, the number of natural disasters are going up. So it's a perfect storm of if you don't have your ducks in a row, you need to get on it, right? You need to
Yeah.
get that emergency savings um up, 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 please.
Yes.
Um, so that's kind of where we are in 2025.
Yeah, the overarching theme is kind of just uncertainty. Like we
Yeah.
saw the
Yeah.
fires on the West Coast, flooding, hurricanes all over. It's just, it just doesn't seem to get better. So protect yourself as much as you can. It's kind of all we can do at this point, at this moment, at least. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, what you said about the federal government not being there, we don't know either what's going to happen with Social Security and Medicare. Currently, as you said, nothing has changed, but again, the uncertainty is there.
Yeah. I
So,
do think the recent uh big beautiful bill OB3, some people are calling it. I like to call it Obaba because it sounds funnier. But that is going to be cutting some Medicaid funds, as distinct from Medicare. But a lot of people expect those cuts to impact the cost of healthcare for everybody, whether or not you're on private health insurance or Medicare, what have you. So that cost, I think we can all expect to be going up for all of us.
yeah.
So that's just something to take into account when budgeting. And then also, we talked about this last year, coming up in the fall is the open enrollment period when you can reevaluate your health insurance coverage through your work. So that's just something to keep an eye on once you get to that open enrollment phase. We expect healthcare costs to be going up.
Yep. And just to kind of recap some of the things we talk about every fall. So, in terms of tax planning, now is a good time. February, my gosh, October, November, you want to take a look at your pay stub. I know we all get direct deposit these days, so people aren't always looking at their pay stub, but take a look at your withholding, see if you need to maybe bump that up for the last couple pay periods, or if you may need to make an estimated payment before the end of the year to kind of cover some withholding deficits. Also, if you have investment accounts, take a look at your capital gains and capital losses. So those will be In brokerage accounts and taxable accounts, we're not talking about IRAs or retirement accounts, tax advantaged retirement accounts. If
Mm.
you have taken a lot of gains, you may want to try to take some losses to offset that, and vice versa. But on the retirement planning side of things, you also want to take a look at your 401k contributions. If you have a 401k at your work, if you can add in a little bit more, or if you are close to like maxing out the company match, maybe that's something you
Hmm.
can try to hit before the end of the year. And also
And
do,
then
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to point out if you're hitting those key age milestones, so age 50 and up, you can do additional catch-up contributions. And then ages 60 to 63, you can do the bonus catch-up contributions to your 401k. So if you're hitting those ages, make sure you take those into account and take advantage of those
Yeah,
um, if you
those are
can.
nice. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, still along the lines of retirement, take a look at the income limit for Roth IRAs. It changes every year. So if you were pretty close last year, you might be able to actually contribute this year, or maybe you'll be close again. But there are other ways that you can contribute to a Roth, whether that's through a back door or a Roth conversion. So now's a really good time to start doing some estimates so that you can take advantage of the Roth account, which is a great account. And it has to be open. Does it have to be open in 2025 in order to, so you can still contribute to it in 2026, but it has to be open in 2025.
Yeah. And nobody, sometimes it happens, people over contribute to a Roth or contribute when they're not supposed to. Ideally, we want to avoid that situation. It is something you can correct. But if you don't correct it quickly and the money sits in there for too long, you're accruing IRS penalties, if the money is in there when it's not supposed to be. So, be sure you get your numbers right, work with your tax professional to make sure you're on track with those.
Yeah, those can be a pain. Even if it's just like $10, you're going to be dealing with it for multiple tax years to come if you
Yes.
don't fix it quickly.
Yes. Yes.
And then, of course, the last thing that we talk about usually at this time is planning for your holiday budget. So in the fall, it gets exciting. We all want to like go all out for Halloween and all that, but like Christmas is coming up and Thanksgiving too. Or whatever holidays you celebrate, it's very difficult to kind of keep your eyes on things before it can get out of hand. Lots of family gatherings, friends going out, etc. So, give yourself a little bit of wiggle room to spend if you can, if you want to, but keep an eye on it too so it doesn't get too out of hand because you don't want to be
Yeah.
playing catch up. It's much easier to
Hmm.
plan ahead.
Yeah. And I do think some people, it depends on your job, right? But some people get a year-end bonus and then they feel really flush and it's really easy to say, "Oh, I have all this extra money, let me blow it." Right? I've been there. But just just be conscious of that effect, and maybe come up with a plan for a bonus before you receive it so
Yeah,
that right, because it's very emotional. You're like, oh, I did so well this year, I have all this money, and you respond emotionally to those things. So trying to come up with a plan before you get that emotional like hit can really help keep you on track.
good one. And one last thing I was just thinking of, don't rely on a tax refund to like get you back to your savings goals because as we all know, tax refunds they can go away as easily as they can show up. So if you haven't done your tax
Yeah.
planning and you don't expect, and you don't know what to expect, just keep
I
in
know.
mind
So
it
at
may
this
not be
point,
a refund.
can we mention the article in the Wall Street Journal recently that there is a booming business on Etsy and other platforms
Yes.
where people are paying witches to cast spells so that they get a tax refund?
Yeah,
Um,
I love it.
I love it too. I mean,
They're smart. Like, if they can make money on that, great. But in reality, a tax refund is not about how much you like think about it or how much you will it to happen. Like it's something you can plan for, it's something you can calculate. So good on them for, maybe getting a little extra cash, but it's
I
not magic.
know.
It's not
I think
witchcraft.
I think part of the problem, right, is the tax code is so complicated that and so many people just don't understand it, which is I think unfortunate that that's the way the system is, but that's the way the system is. And then this new tax bill is just adds much more complications to the tax code that, you know, different peoples have different opinions about, but um it does definitely add to complexity and it is going to impact your taxes, whether are making tips or overtime. I mean, those are impacted. If you're over a certain age, you get an extra deduction. There's a lot of changes coming. So you may or may not receive a tax refund this year that you didn't normally get,
Right.
right? But it's very personal.
Yes. Maybe it is witchcraft. What if I just tell people it's witchcraft? Tax planning is actually witchcraft.
Yeah, I don't know. We can make some more money, Emily.
Yeah, we'll see. Rebranding here.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think we hit the highlights. And as always, if you would like personal advice on your individual situation, because everybody is different, please reach out.
Yep, you can find us on YouTube, Instagram, Propel Financial Advisors, connectingthedollars.com. We are here to answer any questions or help guide you in any kind of tax planning. Um, yeah, like this if you liked our video, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye.